and welcome to Geeks Under Glass, where we take a closer look at all things nerd ephemera. Join us as our hosts, Drew and Few, walk through the geekdom minutiae you never realized you cared for. Here they are with today's topic.
How do all? Welcome to another show, our episode 11.
11?
Yes. Well, we can't count the Halloween episode. That was a special.
Even though it didn't occur on time.
Well, it sort of did. It got uploaded at midnight on All Hallows Eve. I didn't actually plan it that way, but hey, I'll take the credit for it. Well, today we're going to show a little bit of a different side of ourselves. This is going to be... Well, I'm going to start off just because I said so.
You're going to take the momentum and run with it.
That's exactly. I am, amongst other nerdisms, I am also a football nerd. I have been a New York Giants fan.
Rugby for life.
For over 20 years. Rugby is the sport for guys who don't know how to play real football. Just gonna put that out there.
Football's a sport for people that don't have the stamina to play rugby.
Nah. But anyway, yesterday afternoon, well, I guess depending on when you're listening to this, Sunday,
At
November
some point
1st.
in time in the past.
Yes. Sunday, November 1st, 2015, in the afternoon.
Anetto Domine.
The Giants and the Saints played in New Orleans in the Superdome. It was an awful game. I mean, if you like a lot of offense, it was a great game.
Was it high scoring?
Incredibly high scoring. They actually broke a record.
I love that.
They broke a record that has stood since the 1950s. And scored, I believe, 101 points.
Oh my
total
God.
between the two.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
the two, yes.
I'm like that's men NFL 93 on easy mode.
I was just gonna
That's
say,
like me putting it on player 2 and just having player 2 be nobody.
Exactly. Or you go on the All Madden team and you put them on the worst record.
I don't
team.
think they had that back on the SNES.
No,
That was
they
like-
might not have. I don't remember.
That was like the only Madden game I ever really played.
All right. Well, anyway, my beef, as it were. That game came down to literally right down to the last few seconds, as it turns out.
Is this a ref call
Yes.
complaint? Oh, you're complaining about the refs.
But here, let me preface this. I will admit the Giants blew it when they went 3 and out in their final possession of the game.
Three and out.
Yes, first down, second down, third down, and then they had to punt.
Oh, so they punted.
Yes, they were forced to punt because they could not manage a single first down.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I keep
Sorry,
forgetting.
I thought 3 and out was a lineup position.
No. No, that's it's a colloquialism for ran 3 plays, couldn't manage a full 10 yards in that 3 plays, and then were forced to punt. So that was one of their big mistakes. Their defense playing like absolute garbage the whole day was another big mistake. But then again, the Saints defense was also playing like absolute garbage, which was what allowed both quarterbacks to beat their personal previous records of Eli Manning getting 6 touchdown passes and no interceptions, and Drew Brees getting 7 touchdown passes and 1 interception. However,
Like he caused 1 interception, or
it was actually one of those really fluky ones where as his receiver's catching it, he gets lambasted by Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie.
Okay, so the interception counts against him.
Yes.
That's what I wasn't sure.
Yeah, and then Jermaine McBride actually caught the ball after it was dislodged in midair, and he actually ran it back for a touchdown.
Ooh.
Yes. The Giants have become...
So theoretically, he threw 7 touchdowns.
No, he threw 8. Just 1 to the wrong team.
Ah, yes.
But anyway, so I will also say that Tom Coughlin blew the call when he did not tell the punter to kick the ball out of bounds to negate the chance of a return.
Oh, clock stoppage or getting
Mostly just so that they couldn't get a chance at a better field position for a field goal to win.
Gotcha.
The game. If he'd kicked it out of bounds on the other side of the 50-yard line, there would have still only been a few seconds left. There really wouldn't have been time to get down the field and kick a field goal to win the game. It would have at least gone into overtime and given them a shot. So there was that. However, what it boils down to is this. The return man for the Saints just barely crosses about the 50-yard line. As he's being tackled, the ball is dislodged for a fumble. In fluky fashion, it falls forward and into the hands of another Saints player, a gentleman with the last name of Sneed. By rule, in the last 2 minutes of a game, a fumble on a punt or kickoff cannot be returned, if it's fumbled forward, cannot be advanced except by the person who fumbled it. So, we already have a problem.
What an obscure rule.
It is. It's one of those strange little rules. I think it was more or less just to keep it from being that a player couldn't accidentally on purpose fumble forward to a teammate.
Like, oh no, I'm tripping and throwing it ahead to that
Exactly.
guy.
It was designed to keep that kind of crap from happening, because that's not allowed.
You know where you don't have to worry about that?
Don't start with it. Don't say it.
Rugby.
Don't. Oh. Rugby was also a very bad character in Yu Yu Hakusho, and that's what I'm going to always portray rugby as. Really bad. Happy now? You made me make a Yu Yu Hakusho reference in the middle of a football rant.
It was about time we brought something actually nerdy to this.
All right. Well, it's nerdy in the fact that I know the rules.
Yes.
But anyway, so that technically should have been a penalty on the Saints. During Sneed's attempted run back, the punter who kicked the ball actually managed to get down the field and had an inadvertent face mask as the player went down.
Like he got his pulled, or he pulled somebody else's?
His hand was cupped around the face mask of Sneed's.
Oh dear.
Which it is, by technicality, a face mask, even if it is inadvertent. There used to be the rule where an inadvertent face mask was only 5 yards, but a purposeful face mask, like where you grabbed on and you saw their head twist, that was 15 yards. They eliminated that. All face masks are 15 yards.
You think they would have split the difference and gone with 10?
Yeah, I think the point being, though, behind a 15-yard is it pretty much guarantees a first down in most situations, regardless, even though it's generally an automatic first down as well. But anyway, neither here nor there in this discussion. However, after what seriously became about a 5 or 6 minute discussion, the referees came out of a huddle that they came together to figure out what was going on and picked up the flag and said there is no foul on the play because the runner, the receiving team cannot advance the fumble because it was not the person that fumbled the ball.
Okay, so they actually knew about this and called. Okay,
so they called it correctly the first time.
Okay, so I thought that was going to be your complaint. Gotcha.
No. So my complaint is that what happens in a minute.
There's more to the story. Yeah. I'm aware, but
yeah. The whole point being, they knew of the rule. They understood that as soon as Sneed grabbed the ball, the play is considered dead, meaning that his advancing it was what caused the face mask. Had he not advanced it, as the rule states, the face mask doesn't occur. Therefore, technically, anything after that, at that point, doesn't exist. However, after another 3 or 4 minutes of a huddle after that, they decided to say, no, wait, we are going to call that penalty instead, and we're going to give them 15 yards. And then they couldn't decide where the ball should be, and it ended up being what would have been a 52-yard field goal, was then a 50-yard field goal, was then a 51-yard field goal, was then back to a 50-yard field goal. They could not decide.
This whole debate was over 2 feet?
No, 2 yards.
That's what I meant.
About 2 and 3 yards, which is between 6 and 9 feet, which you wouldn't think makes a big difference.
Oh no,
but
it can. Especially when you're 52 yards away.
Yeah, and his career long was only 50 yards. Now, granted, he would have made it at 52 yards anyway, provided he didn't shank it left or right trying to put more power into it. But he made it with room to spare at 50 yards. But my complaint is, and this is what has bothered me and most of other football fans, even Saints fans, have come out and said that's not right. That the Saints were handed the opportunity to win this game, that literally the officials chose the outcome of the game rather than letting the players choose the outcome of the game by just not simply following the rules and by reversing a decision that had no business being reversed. It's one of those oddball things. It's not as bad as, and this is a college football reference, the Miami Hurricanes and Duke Blue Devils football game, in which the referees knowingly and purposefully did not call a grievous number of penalties on 2 kickoff returns that allowed Miami to win the game.
When was this?
This was Saturday, the Saturday before.
Oh, so this was recent.
Yeah. Oh, it
the
was
way you're
just,
saying this, I thought this was like, like sports biblical.
No.
mythos,
This was
like in the year 1974.
This was just egregious. I mean, really awful fact that they didn't call it.
Well, there's a reason we kicked them out of the NFL when the refs went on strike.
Yeah. Well, actually, these refs have actually been they've been suspended for at least 2 games, so they can't officiate any games for 2 games. This is why so many people are so fed up with the refereeing system and the fact that there's no accountability for them anymore. This is the same reason why there have been multiple instances where even Super Bowls have been decided by a bad call by the referees, simply because that's how it works. And this is why this is actually would be the second time this year alone that the NFL and the NFL officials actually owe the Giants an apology. They've already issued one earlier in the year for a very bad series of calls that cost the Giants another football game, and yet now they have another one on their hands where they, by rights, should owe them an apology, but I highly doubt that they will get one. And yes, I am using this platform to vent. Get over it. But yeah, so like I said, that's just, it really gets on my nerves. I want to see the players play the game. I want the players to decide the outcome, not officials who, earlier in the game with several really blown calls, obviously are pulling for the home audience. And I don't care if they do it even for the Giants in New York. I would still call them out for this as well. It's a matter of they've got to walk to their cars and they want happy fans, so they will make blatantly bad calls to keep the fans happy.
What do you think people meant when they said home field advantage?
Yeah. It's supposed to mean that you have your home crowd behind you to cheer you on, not that the home crowd scares and, what's the word I'm looking for? Intimidates the officials in how they call a game.
Next, you're going to tell me team spirit isn't a euphemism for steroids.
I can't say that. Especially if we're talking WWE or something,
Well, that's scripted. That's different.
Yeah. Well, no doubt.
That's more like ice dancing, basically.
Yeah, kind of, only with big sweaty guys.
As opposed to tiny, not as sweaty guys.
Yeah, which is funny though, because I actually do enjoy watching WWE.
I liked it better in like the 80s and 90s, because
the Attitude Era, yes.
Well, not even the Attitude Era, like even pre-Attitude, like before Steve Austin.
Well, yeah, yeah, that was the more classic.
Because what they do now, it's like, so blatantly fake. I mean, I was watching. I had this USO show taped. It was Hogan and Tugboat versus Earthquake and Dino Bravo. And it's not like, oh, of course it thought it was real. You were a kid. You were a moron. No, like, I'm watching this 22, like, wow, this stuff looks really impressive. Like, they weren't, like, trying to be like, oh, he took, 12 chairs to the face and he's still able to get up.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot more, taking blows. I mean, they're not going to fake blood.
Yeah.
And there have been some rather grotesque mishaps that I
have. Oh, absolutely.
There was this one where it was a TLC match.
Oh, yeah.
And Jeff Hardy, his nose literally came off of his face, like it was hanging by a thread of cartilage.
Oh yeah, well that was like what happened with my goodness, I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Jericho?
No, it was Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy were facing off against 2 other wrestlers, and I am so...
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
It was so terrible. The spot was Jeff would jump onto the ladder would shoot up, and they would, of course, take the bump. Well, unfortunately...
That's what happened.
Yeah, his hands missed. It caught him in the eye. It shattered his orbital socket.
No. This literally
broke
happened.
His nose, and he now has only about 20% vision in that eye.
No, there was nothing done to the nose. There was
Joey Mercury. That's what it is. Mercury.
No, this was like pure nose, no eye.
Okay, yeah, no, this would be a different match.
And it was less of a hitting it with his hand and more like a literal.
Yeah,
like,
no, he jumped. Yeah, Jeff Hardy jumped onto the ladder. That shot it up, and he didn't get his hands up quite quick enough. It caught him in the face, and literally you see him. This you won't see it in the edited, the new versions.
of course.
But I watched it live with a friend of mine.
Lucky you.
The agent of 2CW, Patrick Fenton. Little shout out for you there, buddy.
It pays to have friends like us.
Yeah, right. But he and I were watching it together, and I remember seeing Mercury turn, and as he did, a swath of blood just sprayed out all over the floor.
Damn.
And then he did not return, and it was awful. And we both looked at each other, and we were both like, "That's not good."
No.
So-
But I mean, just there was a greater feel because it wasn't about trying to top. Like, I mean, I'll admit, after doing it for X amount of years, you kind of gotta up the stakes. I mean, I didn't watch it personally, but I've played WWE 2K14 or 15, the one that lets you do all the WrestleManias.
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania 1, the huge thing was a body slam contest. You know, which contestant can body slam the other contestant.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, yeah, it's come a long way from that, but,
Yeah.
I mean, it's lost something in the process.
Yeah, they tend to focus more on character.
Yeah, not back then. It was like a
match.
contest with some melodrama behind the scenes.
Mhm.
Now it's a soap opera with the occasional fight breaking out.
Basically. But because I'm mentioning this to all you actual wrestling fans out there, 2CW, great local promotion in Syracuse, New York, is having their final show ever in December. Go to 2CW.com,
What does it stand for?
Squared Circle Wrestling.
Oh,
They
2CW.
Yeah. They are a fantastic local promotion, always have been, and they've always been all about their fans. And I think for their last show, the fans need to be all about them and to show up. You got to be fast, though. They're running out of tickets quickly.
Space is finite, sadly.
Exactly, especially because it's going to be in the Pastime Athletic Club, the place where it all started. So get your tickets, show your support. Even if you can't get in, stand outside and show your support. Because this is a promotion that I am incredibly sad to see go. Like I said, you'll never see a better match than some of these indie promotions these days. And unfortunately, 2CW was one of the greats in that regard, and sadly they're going to be going away in December. So definitely check them out, 2CW.com. Sorry, got to get the plug in there.
Oh, by all means, by all means. But before the show, I actually had a quick talk with Drew because, as we all have come to know, he is not a fan of the show Ruby.
No.
No.
I will never watch that show only because of what Screw Attack did.
Don't blame Rooster Teeth for what Screw Attack did.
I'm not blaming Rooster Teeth for anything. I'm blaming Screw Attack
but
for ruining. I was considering watching that anime.
Well, listen to
listen
to the news I have got for you.
Oh boy.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. Going into season 3, I was a bit nervous and a bit sad because Monty Ohm, the writer, producer, and one of the voices in the series, had passed away in the hospital due to complications concerning an allergic reaction.
Our condolences, of course, to his entire family and friends.
Of course, it was tragic. But I was like, okay, what's the show gonna be like? You know, what are they gonna do with his character? At first, I'm like, oh wow, maybe he recorded some of the dialogue before his passing, which I mean, unfortunate, but still happy, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the case because I mean, it's a character that doesn't talk much. So I thought, okay, there's maybe a chance. And so after the second episode, I'm like, you know what? I have to know. I have to know. So I'm going through the cast. And sadly, no, it's not him. It's one of his relatives.
Oh, okay.
I think his name is Neith.
Okay.
And I happen to notice this other name. You might know him. He's a bit of a nobody. Hasn't really been in anything big. Vic Mignogna.
No, I never heard of Vic. No, Vic who's that? I've never heard of him.
Vic Baloney Eggnog. Yeah, he is apparently in this season, and I mean, the smile on my face. You ever get so happy you get like kind of like violent?
Sometimes, yeah.
I was a hair shade.
I always get a big smile whenever I hear Vic in anything.
Well, that's just it. I didn't realize it was him because, like, his character in this particular episode was mostly just like grumbling and drunken murmuring.
But yeah, because that's exactly the opposite of what we usually see him, and he's usually very bombastic and very.
Well, actually, it kind of reminded me a bit of Ikaku from Bleach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like kind of like that, but a little more gravelly.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, I am like very happy about that.
Well, so anyway, we were discussing Rooster Teeth,
and just the crux of this season is basically like a tournament, you know.
Okay.
And if nothing else, they do very good choreographed fight scenes.
Mm-hmm.
You would like it if. Okay. I'm just saying, it's got Vic Mignogna in it.
Well, that makes me want to now go check it out.
At the very least, you can just watch season 3 and ignore the previous seasons. Okay. I mean, there's some crucial stuff in there, but you'll get the gist.
Okay.
Basically, people have weapons, people have powers.
Okay. Well, that was what bugged me so much about the screw attack thing. They severely limited.
Yeah, they gave her
Tifa
just 2 materia.
2 materia. She has, I believe, with the Final Heavens and any normal thing, especially even like the bracelet that's supposed to nullify both fire and ice. I think she has a grand total of like 8 different materia slots. That so that doesn't count that she could have had summons. She could have had
They did say they were referring to Dissidia, as far as that was concerned, because I guess they said like it was too customizable in 7.
I don't care.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying like.
Well, the thing of it is, that's my point behind it. They took the least strength that they could possibly have with Tifa and put her against someone whom they could give the most strength. That's why I'm no longer subscribed to Screw Attack and why I won't watch their videos anymore. They are incredibly... I understand if you have a bias, that's fine, but at least... And I'm not taking anything of this super seriously, obviously. It's cartoon characters, crying out loud. But the point being that at least attempt to not be biased. Try to take that out as much as possible. I mean, you've got her Final Heaven, where she does
a dolphin uppercut.
She does insane amounts of damage when you hit it all correctly, to the point that you can take out Sephiroth with it. Freaking Sephiroth, the game's
I will
final
never forget
boss.
the dolphin thing. I'm sorry.
She can pick up Emerald Weapon and body slam him.
I will assume that's impressive.
Emerald Weapon, let me put it this way. Godzilla, this is his older brother. Emerald Weapon is
what an
enormous.
Oddly different name.
Well, yeah, this is just, the guy is enormous. Absolutely enormous. And she can pick him up and freaking body slam him.
God, now I'm thinking of what a character named Emerald would look... Actually, it's kind of funny. There's a character named Emerald on Ruby.
I don't care. I'm not going to watch the show now.
You said you might.
No. Man, I refuse now.
Come on. She's like this series' version of Aladdin. Except she's got like cowboy dueling pistol type things that transform into commas.
No.
Come on. Everyone loves a good comma.
No.
Even Oxford loves a good comma. I had to.
I know you did. But that's, like I said, I was watching a lot of that stuff. Like, I'll point out another quick one.
Well, I was going to say...
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I was going to say before my mind suddenly realized, oh, wait, I can tie this back to my thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
But my mind, when you said Emerald, my mind was like, if there was a character on Steven Universe named Emerald, what the hell would she look like? Just because.
I don't know.
Exactly. I love the show, though.
It is an interesting show.
Apparently there's like this huge big bad simply called Yellow Diamond. And like I've seen its outline.
It in a while, so.
Well, you don't even see her yet. You just see her in this there was this thing in SDCC, San Diego Comic-Con, and they did like an extended opening intro where you got to see like the outline of, I'm assuming, Yellow Diamond. Looks imposing, you know. So I'm kind of curious, you know, because they always come up with these interesting designs for their characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Emerald, huge Godzilla type thing.
Yeah, it was just a monstrous monster, and that's what it was. I mean, literally all of the weapons were these skyscraper-sized beings that, you know, that the planet would summon to defend it against attack, basically. And that's exactly what they did. I mean, they were actually tougher bosses, I believe, than the final boss. Because with the final boss in Sephiroth...
What was the final boss?
Sephiroth.
Oh, I thought you said the final boss and Sephiroth.
You have two different forms of Sephiroth.
Oh.
But yeah.
Let me just tell you this. The form he takes in Kingdom Hearts, that's the toughest.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, that is one-hit KO.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
well, the thing of it is... you can cast Knights of the Round a few times and take him out. You can cast Knights of the Round till you're blue in the face.
Knights of the Round?
It is basically 16... I think it's 16? Or is it 13? Maybe it's
13.
12.
13.
I think it might be 13.
We're talking about the dog, right? The dog wolf?
No. Knights of the Round is literally King Arthur and his knights.
No, you said 13, though.
Well, no, I'm saying, is it 13 individual hits?
Oh, I thought you meant like the
damage.
character 13.
No. This is,
okay.
I can't remember if it's somewhere between 12 and 16.
Well, I'm going to assume 13 because it's the 12 knights plus Arthur.
Yeah, and that's the whole point is, and each one of them comes in with their weapon and just smashes the guy. And you can take out major bosses with this thing in a single blow. And you could cast it a dozen times on these emeralds. Like an emerald, ruby, or...
Meanwhile, on 8, all we get is Galahad.
Yeah. And it won't...
And unless I'm
hardly
mistaken,
affects them.
Unless I'm mistaken, I think if you like get him at a certain time, he can die.
I don't remember.
Well, basically, it's like they're
because I don't play 8. I've never played 8.
Well, it was the first one that I ever got, so I was like, okay, I'm pre-puberty, but I'm kind of getting there. There's a half-naked ice chick.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, right.
But there's this, like, apparently if you, like, get her from the Toneberry place or something, and you get her before you confront Cypher at the end of Disc 3, like, basically he's a random encounter GF. Like, he'll occasionally just come in and save the day, and it's, like, for me, it was always when I had the weakest enemies, so it's just like, gee, thanks.
Yeah, I didn't really need that, thank you anyway.
I could have done it myself.
Yeah, right?
This jar wasn't that tightly twisted. But if you get him before, you know, your final fight on Disc 3 of 4, like, he'll come in with your fight with Cypher, and Cypher will just be like, you know, kill. Just,
nice.
And then, in his place, you get somebody else. I forget who it was. I think it was like Gilgamesh. But, and it's interesting because it was Galahad, but it was like a very Japanese Bushido kind of Galahad, you know?
Yeah. Well, it was even like, what was it, Alexander? Maybe it was Alexander. I think it was supposed to be like Alexander the Great or something, but it was like a castle made of like a suit of armor, and it would come out, it would drop down, and it would drop its four legs, and then it would just shoot the beam, and everything would blow up.
That was weird.
Yeah.
No, for me, I'm not sure if it was just like I got a buggy version of the game, or because this was like way back in the day when you couldn't really trust all the walkthroughs to be right. Because like I could not find half of the GFs.
Yeah, I actually ran into that problem too.
And there were some awesome ones that I wanted.
Oh yeah,
like Doom Train.
Yeah.
And then there was like that weird one that took like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was like it was this weird computer, and then it sent a beam out into space, and then the space like hit a satellite, and then it brought a planet to crash into your planet.
Yeah.
It was just like Eden. That's what it was. It was Eden.
Yeah. See, and I didn't like on that one the that you drew your magic out of your enemies in 8.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were trying something new. My issue was with the junctioning, because that was
a pain.
Well, it was a pain, dude. I didn't even do it like until like I learned. Oh, okay. So this, like, the closest I ever really did to it was like, okay, I want to be immune to this, and immune to that. Like I did it to like make myself immune to certain elements and status effects. Like I'm tired of this guy making me fall asleep. I'm going to make myself impossible to fall asleep.
Yeah. Yeah, that was about all that ended up being. That's why 8 never got the accolades that like 7 did, or even 9. So,
dude, I loved 9. Did you hear they found I think what was it? Like almost 10 years after it came out, they found a brand new. Well, I say brand new, but like they discovered a secret that had never been like discovered before, or at least not been made public. It was something about going to the clock tower, falling asleep, and like, you know those 3 donkeys that wear like the weird little hangman masks?
Vaguely.
Benito, Benicio, and Benicio, or whatever it was?
Yeah.
Basically, you keep going back to the place, you sleep, they'll wake you up, and it's like, you know, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then they'll give you a thing, and they'll keep giving you things, and then they'll give you some huge thing at the very end. But
Well,
enough about...
I was just going to say, we're getting way off what you were talking about, because...
yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about that, I mean, there's less animus towards it, but it's still not your favorite topic.
Yeah.
South Park did a Yowie episode, and for those of you that don't know, that is dude on dude embracing the love that dare not speak its name.
And see, and here's my problem with it. I don't really care for Yuri either, but it's not as bad as Yowie, only because when it's ladies, they tend to have, and this is not, I'm not trying to be stereotypical here, this is just
Breasts.
well, they tend to be more affectionate. Women tend to be more affectionate to people that they care about, period.
Fair
Male
enough.
or female. But when they do it with the guys, it's so overt, so over the top, it just becomes gag me.
I'm not
You
gonna lie.
lose the story in it.
It's very saccharine. I'm not gonna lie, but it's adorable. I mean, oh, and the thing is, like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of happy because I'm not sure if you realize this. South Park apparently has a very heavy, like, yaoi, like, drawings, fan fiction, like, a lot of stuff they have Cartman and Kyle doing. It's because they very much know, like, who gets shipped the most. I hate to admit it. Like, there have been times when I've challenged Rule 60. You're like, oh, this can't possibly be a thing. And one of those times was South Park. I'm like, oh dear God, it's a thing. But, so I was just like, oh man, they're going to do a Yowie episode? Oh, this is going to be so great. And then it's like Tweek and Craig. And I'm like, okay, I get it that you don't want it to be about the main characters.
Well, that would, yeah, it would
You
kind
kind
of...
well, I mean, it's not like they have to be gay themselves. It's just basically what happens is they're doing like Asian appreciation, so they're talking about yaoi, and they show some artwork, and like all these girls apparently did like just depictions of Tweek and Craig, and here's basically what happened. I don't know when, because I just found out about it after the fact on cheeseburger.com.
Okay.
Well, one of its affiliate sites.
Okay.
And basically, it's like, South Park went like, hey, all you people, are you artistic? Do you want to draw 2 dudes being intimate with each other?
Oh, good grief.
Draw Tweek and Craig, send it to us by like, by Monday, and we might put it in our show. And oh my word, they had so much depictions. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, most of it was pretty chaste. Like 9 times out of 10, they're either hugging or holding hands. I mean, say what you will about yaoi, at least in my experience, either I'm the luckiest peen dodger this side of the Rio Grande, but I have like never seen like full frontal. So
I like I said, I avoid both just because they tend to ignore a story to try to push, that aspect, and it's like you're losing everything else because you want to push this aspect too much, and it's like just go with the story.
I do got a few titles I could lend you.
No, thank you.
I'm just saying they're adorable.
I've no doubt that they are, but they're not anything I'm going to be looking into.
But the other great thing about this episode, aside from, I'm not gonna lie, after this episode, like, coming into it, I'm like, geez, Tweek and Craig, why Tweek and Craig? But by the end, I'm like, yay, Tweek and Craig. It was so beautiful, I'm not gonna lie, that is the power of yaoi.
Alright, well, I think on that awkward note... Nope, you got more?
There was one good thing that came out of it that I think even you will agree. We got to experience Peter Gabriel's song, Book of Love. It's a good song. Don't give me that. Please do not give me that.
You can't see, but I'm face palming really hard right now.
He is face palming like it's his job. I am disappointed, sir. I am disappointed. It is a good song.
Oh, no. Yes, but if it's involved in South Park, come on.
Dude, how do you think I learned to appreciate the I'm So Ronery song?
or the was it the City Walk?
Oh yeah, Shitty Walk.
Yeah. No, not my City Walk.
But no, they're
my City Beef.
They've been doing something with South Park these past couple of seasons that I'm not like yay or nay on it. I'm intrigued by it. They've been working on a very linear, like
they're actually trying to tell a story.
Well, no. More like a cohesive thread throughout the series, or throughout the season at least. Like, what was it? Last season or the season before that? Like all throughout the season, they kept coming back to the fact that Stan's dad was Lord, or Lorde, or however you pronounce it.
Gotcha.
And in this season, they've got like the Soto Sopa, the Shipa Town, the Whole Foods, which had the funniest friggin' cashier you ever did see.
Nice.
And like he basically just keeps being like this uber dick to Randy about not giving $1 to help feed hungry people in Africa, and like it gets to that point where like you're such a dick, it's an art. And now they got like Butters recovering from the fact that he tried to kill himself.
Oh.
Well, because in that charity episode, basically he was in charge of screening. Well, first off, he was screening Cartman's online feed from, just screening it from like all the negative stuff, so that he only read positive stuff. Then Vin Diesel and Steven Seagal and Ariana Grande and a plus-size women's modeling competition. Just like all the negativity finally got to him.
Yeah.
And just
nice.
Jumped out a window.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so he's got like this full-on like neck brace, like he's got the cage.
The halo, yeah.
Just
I think they call it a halo.
Well, it looks like a head cage.
Like a bird cage almost on his head. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, an immobilizer. Well, on that happy note, why don't we go ahead and wrap this up, since we're already at the 37-minute mark. So, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, the folks at South Park owe us money for all of this free publicity, although not that they need it.
I think they're doing pretty well, actually.
Yeah, pretty well without us. But yeah, definitely leave your comments below. Don't forget, like, subscribe, follow us on Facebook or Twitter.
Or real life.
No, that'd be a little creepy.
After a while, but I'm just saying, like a day or two. See how we live.
I don't think anybody wants to know how we live.
Well, they want to, they'll just be disappointed.
Incredibly so.
Yeah.
Like, they may pull a Butters.
I don't think they'll go that far. It'll just be like thinking you had $10 more than you actually have, and just realizing you don't have as much.
You pull the piece of paper out of your pocket and you find out it's a Post-it note and 15 cents when you really thought you had a $10 bill in there. All right. Well, until next time, folks. We'll see you later.
Have a good one.